In the lead up to what will be an awesome 2019 IIEX conference in Bangkok, December 4 and 5, I'm speaking to a number of thought leaders around the region to find out what's hot and what we should expect for the coming decade. My name is Jason Buchanan, and today I'm joined by Peter Harris, CEO of Potentiate, which now incorporates Vision Critical Australia, and former president of the Australian Market and Social Research Society. Special thanks to our sponsor, My Employer Life, improve workplace performance through simple success habits. So hello and welcome, Pete. I know you travel quite a bit. It looks like you're not quite in the office. Where are you right now?
Yeah, I'm actually in downtown Sydney. It's a nice day, nice spring day, and I'm just in a hotel, the Amora Hotel, which is I'm about 500 metres from the Sydney Opera House in Sydney Harbour.
Nice.
So it's a nice day.
So I've just figured out that we've known each other for about 15 years, and the first question I really wanted to get to is, what, in your opinion, what are the things that have changed the most in the research industry over that 15 years?
Yeah, well, I can't believe it's only 15 years. I feel like I've known you forever, Jace. So,
Yeah, likewise.
as you know, I mean, the biggest change has been this little thing called the internet that was invented around about, in the early 90s, and it was really technology as an enabler, but actually all that did is enable a big shift, in how businesses engage with customers, and that's been the biggest change. So we see that using technology as an enabler, power shifted from the institution to actually customers. And that's a pretty exciting place to be if you're in our profession, which is very customer focused, and we're always been trying to become more important and more relevant to the business. And this shift towards customer focus has actually helped us a lot. We don't have to want to be in the boardroom anymore. The businesses have worked out that it's very important that customers are kind of considered a lot more in the business. So that shift really has worked in our favour, and at the same time, kind of digital as a disruptive factor has kind of come through, and it's a combination, I guess, of these forces that actually has made what we do much more relevant and much more important. And it's also caused companies to change what they see as important and to rethink their operating models. There's really Forrester's Age of the Customer, that kind of digitally savvy consumers are actually now, or customers have now changed the rules and have created extraordinary opportunity for us, in our space and in our profession to be able to create that connection. And it's required us to act and think differently as it has with businesses.
Yeah, I guess, that's hearing you speak, has the industry changed or has the consumer changed? The fact that the consumer consumes content and information much more differently. Is that what we're really talking about here, the changing face of how consumers are operating these days?
I think the power shift, that's the thing, is that everyone always thinks that, you have to create things that the consumers want, but actually the power has shifted. And, if you've worked as long as I have, we worked in working models where technology was the key thing, or finance was the key driver, or how much things cost was the key driver. Now it's really understanding the customer, which is actually the key driver that is shaping decision making. And it's come through in every way, this big push towards agile that our customers are going through now, the push towards listening to customer, to VOC, whatever you want to call it. It's actually just a fundamental shift where customers are, much more considered and much more important, in commerce.
Yeah, that's right. So then, let's take the difference between customers. Your customers that you deal with and the consumers that they end up doing with. I'm guessing that you speak to quite a number of customers still, Pete, in your role.
Yeah.
What are they telling you that their challenges are? So you've talked about the industry challenges, but what's a common element, or what are they saying to you?
Yeah. Well, the best part of my job is talking to customers. I still spend, more than half of my time talking to customers, and every week's, 5 to 10 customer meetings as a minimum. So that's where I spend my time. That's where I learn the most, and that's where I want to spend my time. So, and yeah, at Potentiate, we, service over or manage over 90 customers globally. And as I think it's confirmed, like in the latest GRIT report that I read, which is really the biggest challenges really are time and resources. They're the challenges that our customers have got. We're in the age of the customer, as I said before, and our clients have been asked to do more, often with less resources. So that's a real challenge. There's a greater need. They're having greater need for outcome-based work, and a greater need for work that actually is really communicated with great clarity. And
That
yeah, as I said before, as I said before, there's a big push to agile, demand for iterative insight generation, not just one point in time, and that's a real challenge. At the same time, there's a big blurring of qual and quant kind of data collection, and what does that mean for customers? And there's been an explosion of video, so that's all kind of really kind of layering on as additional challenges for our customers.
I noticed that bit in the Grit report as well, actually, about the resources. It really did grab my eye, and I guess there was that also that inverse relationship between automation and technology, and which I want to cover off very
Yeah,
shortly, but also then time and resources, but also what is innovative, and what
yeah.
sort of budget or what sort of time can be given to new things. What's your sort of take on that relationship between those two things?
Yeah, I thought, again, having been in this game for a while, there used to be, research budgets or customer budgets, which had a small proportion of new things. This is my budget for the year to have new things, and those days are gone. There's no kind of fat in people's budgets anymore. There's an assumption that whatever you've got, you need to kind of do both business as usual plus bring on new technology and new ways to really understand customers. So we have to make do with what resources that are there. So that means that the industry that we're in the profession we're going to continue to innovate, continually to try and bring in new pieces of technology to provide either efficiencies or speed or other things. But most importantly, probably wrap good thinking around that.
I mean, you mentioned technology and innovative thinking, and obviously you're now in charge of an expanded business, which is including a number of different varieties of offerings for customers and clients. So, how is, if I call it the expanded Potentiate, how
Yep.
are you guys positioned to be able to cover off some of those challenges, which I think is in some way daunting, but in other ways exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's really exciting. That's why we made the move, to join Potentiate, is that I think we're perfectly placed to be able to not only have market level data, syndicated information to have a look at what's happening in the market, but actually be able to combine CX data, which it's got great breadth, with community data, which has got great depth, and I
Mm,
think that's how we can really understand how decisions are being made. That's how I think that we can move from understanding metrics and measurement into why do people making the decisions that they do, and that's kind of with the depth of the community. And we really think that we're excited to roll out around the world, which is looking at moving from, say, CX or data collection into much more human experience or a HX focus. How does how do brands fit into people's lives? How do brands need to be, to actually really get the most out of their customers, for customers to be able to kind of live and breathe, um, you know, what the brands are doing these days.
yeah. So
Uh,
HX, human experience. I mean, is that a new category? Is that what we're now talking
yeah,
about?
we believe it is,
Mm,
and I think, we believe that we're going to break new ground because we're able to kind of do get the measurement through CX to identify the problems, or the issues that are happening within the organization and the opportunities, and to be able to actually diagnose those in communities that actually kind of operate really quickly, to be able to uncover how to kind of do something better than the product the brand's currently doing. So that whether that's new product development, whether that's new service delivery with the new advertising nuances, so to be really understand, how to diagnose some of the problems, but actually with communities we understand people's lives. We're not only talking
mm.
to them about this product on day one, or this service. We're actually understanding more about what people are doing across their lives, and again we can really kind of uncover. We think that we can actually do a lot more in the prediction space, if we understand both the breadth and the depth of why people do things.
I mean, the amount of work. I mean, we're talking about the things that have changed over the last little while. I think most people would agree that the way things are happening now is very different to the way things have happened over the last, or certainly 15 years ago. You've already confirmed that to me today. So I'm actually curious about where you see, from your perspective, with the experience you've had, what are the things that you're most looking forward to, not just in the near term, but where do you see things sort of progressing and getting to, and what are some of the things that you find that really excites you when you think about them, in that sort of, as we're approaching this new decade, which is only really a couple months away?
Yeah. It is about, it is, I do think that there's never been a better time to be part of the industry that we're in, or the profession that we're in, insight and research. There's not a brand or a customer that I talk to on the planet these days that actually doesn't want to get closer to their customer, that
Mm.
actually doesn't want to launch better products or faster products or ones that are actually really going to make an impact. And I feel that we're actually perfectly placed, again, because of the moving from the customer centricity into the human centricity, that actually will really help a lot. I think it's really that nuance of understanding how brands and products fit into people's lives and understanding their lives as a whole rather than just a point in time, and feeding that information back to tell people what we're doing with the information they're providing to us. It actually just creates a completely different dynamic, and it actually really just encourages more and more people to want to talk to us, or engage with the brand, which is what the brand wants. The brand doesn't want some kind of transactional relationship. We've got all the transactional information that we need. That's constantly being collected, but actually we need to kind of dig deeper into that and understand why people are doing things.
So
And
from
I think that's going to be
yeah.
really important.
I mean, the thing that strikes me from again, just because we've known each other for quite some time, but you have you're I don't see you, Pete, as someone who's a specialist in any one area, like a quant qual community. You've sort of been there, and even client side, early in your career. Um, so when it comes to methodology and things like that, the qualitative research, and I'm curious about your view of how these things move into the future, and is there much of a shift, or in fact, is it still a balancing of just multiple methodologies trying to get the right, trying to get the insight you need?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't thought about, we don't think about methodology anymore, or qual or quant, really. They're kind of terms we hear at industry events or terms that we might see in client briefs. So we're just trying to pull in different forms of ways of actually engaging with customers. So how do we actually talk to younger people these days? Younger people do not want to do long surveys. They're not part of the group of people that want to get paid to do everything that to do a long survey. Their time's worth more than that. So how do we actually want to interact with them? We want to interact with using video. They want to give a 2-minute update of their experiences while they're actually live at an event. They want to actually engage with us in the way they used to engage with their friends or their family units or their peer groups. So we need to make sure that we're actually uncovering that and giving them the tools and approaching them in the ways that they're actually going to want to engage with us. The more people that actually want to give feedback to brands about their behavior, the better. And for too long, I think we've been working with a very small proportion of people that actually want to talk to the brand. That is, people that want to answer surveys or want to earn a couple of cents to actually do a survey. We really need a much broader part of society talking to us to actually get much better answers.
Yeah, I mean, I can only agree with that. I can only agree with that. So then, you know, as someone who's got a lot of experience, there's going to be new people who are breaking into the industry. And if you think about when we're all been younger at some point in time and had an idea of what the research industry would grant us, and
Yeah.
obviously the things seem to be changing. If you're, I know you look after young people on your team and bring people through. What advice would you give to someone who's either breaking into the industry or sort of thinking about that?
Yeah, and again, I think it's a great time to come into our profession and our industry. When I did a marketing degree many years ago, and the part of the market research part of that course was learning how to program SPSX, as it was called in those days. That was market research, how to program a survey. Now it's about understanding human behavior. So that's much more interesting and much more kind of sexy place to be. And we're bringing new people into our business all the time from university, and their expectation is that it's not just sitting at your desk and programming surveys or sitting at your desk and never seeing clients. So my big advice would be to say yes when you see an opportunity. So no one's born, no one that I've ever met is born being a great presenter or a great creative thinker or a great at designing presentations. It comes with practice, and practice can only happen when you say yes. So put your hand up to do more, go to conferences, read articles, have a think about the best way of actually presenting information. How would you like things to be presented to you? What makes sense to you? And make sure that you actually, the skills that that require in research and are evolving as well. So it's well documented that the kind of skills is going to be, the advent of AI and machine learning. There's going to be less project management required. There's going to be more data synthesis, required. Look at multiple forms of data, understand what the story is telling you, and then be able to communicate that, tell better stories, link things to business problems, and make sure we're actually solving problems for the customer, and present them in a way that shows that, in simple language, that tells them what's the best thing to do. And I think that's a much more exciting kind of vocation or thing to be part of than
Yeah.
simply accepting brief.
So, Pete, I'd like to direct attention towards a topic which the Grit report highlighted, and probably has. It's no surprise where we asked about buzz topics, and you can see on the left there, AI in general, both for suppliers and buyers, was incredibly buzzy, followed
Yep.
by research automation, machine learning, behavioral economics, or behavioral sciences in there, big
Yep.
data. So, what's your take on this? I mean, it's streets ahead of where everything is. What's your take of AI and where that sits?
Yeah, so my summary of AI is that it's a lot. It's a big deal, and I think that we might be underestimating the impact that it's going to have, on our profession and our industry moving forward. We know we're lucky. Last year we spoke at a number of different conferences around the world, and actually ran sessions to ask the crowd at these events, which of these technologies would you invest personally in? And we know far and away that AI was the number one. So we know that it's a big deal. We're also lucky enough to have Ray Pointer as our Chief Research Officer here at Potentiate,
Mm.
and he has done quite a lot of work around the world, published blogs around the fact that without question, the traditional parts of research, project design, project management, analysis, and even potentially communicating insight and recommendations are going to be impacted by AI. They already are. There's tools being developed. And I was lucky enough to go to Austin last year to the big show run by the guys at Green Book, and all you had to do is walk into the floor there to see how many different forms of tech are actually being created to try and find a way within market research, to kind of add value. So it's a really big deal. I think that we are still going to require human input. So these machines can learn, but the machines will take on a lot of the heavy lifting, and we need to find space within that to be able to kind of add value.
Yeah. So how are you guys particularly, as Potentiate, tackling this or going about this, as a topic?
Yeah, we as a technology-driven company, wrapping our good people around our technology, we know that we can't invent everything, so we're looking for partnerships and JVs that can demonstrate outcomes for our clients very quickly and blend that into our existing technology platforms.
Yeah, nice.
We have the data, others have technology. For example, in the auto industry here in Australia, Potentiate has 6 years of market level data on who's purchased what by model and by manufacturer. And we're now partnering with another technology partner who can use this data to successfully predict, who is going to buy what model of car by customer record. So if we need to blend our existing knowledge and our process and the information that we've got by attaching ourselves to other AI-driven tools to help us get a better outcome.
Fantastic. And then finally, how do you see this as a topic playing out? I mean, obviously it's a buzz topic now. Is it going to
Yeah.
continue to be so? And is there something that you can give us a bit of a hint or a tip that you think about where things might go?
Yeah, I think that machine learning and AI are different, but if you kind of put them into one bucket, as I said before, there's lots of suppliers trying to find a niche, and like anything, what I see is there's going to be some consolidation, around particularly pieces of technology and providers that actually can find a commercial outcome. There's lots of AI. Some of it may or may not quickly get to a commercial outcome, but we need to also find AI and machine learning tools that actually do not need millions and millions of experiments to get up to speed.
Yeah.
So we need them to the ones that actually can learn faster and can actually be useful to specific brand issues, can be actually useful. They're going to be the ones that win, I think. And I think that the other thing that I think will happen is the people that will win are those of us or those professionals that can actually come on board and add value around the AI and be familiar with how to use AI and get those skills into the day-to-day very quickly.
Fantastic. What's something that no one knows about you that you think that they'll be surprised to find out?
Uh, that's a good question. Okay, so I'm going to give you three things. One's personally about me. You might be surprised to know that I'm actually 1/4 Lebanese. So my family
Really?
came from, yeah. So
I did not know that.
my grandfather came from Lebanon on a boat 130 years ago to Australia, up to far north Queensland.
Number two?
Number two was probably that I was on track to have a career in audit. Or finance until I actually walked into a lecture at university many, many moons ago, and there was a Nestle part-time lecturer from Nestle, and he was taught, it was a consumer behavior unit, and he spent 20 minutes talking about how Nestle try to understand why people make decisions. And I remember that exact moment where I said, that's exactly what I actually want to dedicate, whatever career I have. That's actually a very interesting point of how people make decisions, and linking that to actually being a more successful business. That's exactly what I want to do, and that's what's driven me.
It's almost become an ad for
Yeah.
the industry. Sorry, number three?
Yeah. Number three is that I would much, much prefer to spend all of my time talking to clients.
Peter Harris, you've been a champion. Thanks very much.
No problems. Nice talking to you, Jason. Thanks for the opportunity. Cheers.
Thank you for watching, and watch out for more interviews with other thought leaders across the Asia Pacific region. Purchase your tickets for IIEX Bangkok December 4 to 5 from this website, insightinnovation.org, and use this discount code to save 30% off your full ticket. I'm Jason Buchanan. This has been APAC Insight. See you next time.